All right. Good evening, everybody. Happy late Saturday night. I guess it's not really that late, but happy Saturday night. Texas Tech does get the win. It is one of those Texas Tech does get the win, but kind of moments this evening. Welcome to Raiderland Rewind, brought to you by Thacker Jewelry here in the Arctic Air Studios. We'll let you guys get in and get this thing rolling here in just a little bit. We'll recap the game, our quick thoughts on it. Mainly want to hear from you what you're thinking about this evening as Texas Tech wins in overtime 52-51. There are some internals of this game that started to become apparent in the first half that we'll discuss. There are actually some good things about this game that we'll discuss, but there is a harsh reality that you cannot escape regarding the defensive performance tonight. And we'll discuss that as well. And where was that man? Micah Hudson. Billy J. Harden already asking. We'll discuss that as well tonight. All right, let's do this thing. I think we got enough. The early arrivals, you know what to do. Give us hearts, thumbs up. Let us know the audio is good, the video is good. Share it with your friends. Invite them on in for a little conversation on some Red Raider football tonight. Product placement. In 3, in 2. Well, good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, TheRaiderland.com. You start your day there every day. We got cool stuff waiting for you, including Monday through Friday, the Raiderland Hot Links. Tomorrow, 5 things we know on a Sunday. Don't miss that column right now. This is Raiderland Rewind, brought to you by Thacker Jewelry, a West Texas institution. Head into their showroom this week. Let them create something as unique and special as the person you love. I like saying that. Thanks to Thacker Jewelry for being a huge sponsor here on Rewind and also on Diamond Talk when baseball season comes around. We are in the Arctic Air Studios. You didn't necessarily need it today. The temperatures have cooled down, but there might be another hot streak coming. But you know what's coming? Winter. And if your AC unit barely limped through the summer, guess what's going to happen when it gets cold? You need to call the bear. Callthebear.com. All right, so Raiderland Rewind, our thoughts, your comments. This game obviously should never have been close. This game was not trending to be close in the first quarter. And then, like so many times we've seen, it feels like over the last couple of years, after a hot start, after maybe the scripted plays, after the adjustments by the defense, well, some things started to happen. Now, to give, not to beat up on the offense, I'm not starting off beating up on the offense. I'm just saying that there was an overall feeling of, I don't know if you let your foot off the gas. Not again, offense, just weird. And we see what happens tonight. And Texas Tech barely survives and beats a team that they should absolutely beat the ever-loving you-know-what out of. And that they didn't do it. There's no way to sugarcoat it. This is a horrible win. It would have been a disastrous loss. It's a horrible win. So we'll get to your questions as we go through. I want to do one thing on the advanced metrics on this game before we get started, because it was something that we started picking up on after the first 2 series where Texas Tech defense looked great, lights out, looked physically dominant. And then as the quarter and a half went on, third down became a problem. And if you want to look at how ACU stayed in this game tonight, you don't have to look any further than third down. Third down tonight, they were 11 of 16, at one time 7 of 9. A 68.8% conversion percentage. Their average distance to go on third down was 6.1 yards. But this is the staggering number on third down tonight. Third down passing by Maverick McIver. Yes, that Maverick McIver, who had never been able to see the field at Jones Stadium other than practice and walked out and threw for 500 yards. On third down tonight, he was 11 of 14 for 223 yards. 11 of 14, 223 yards on third down. Compare that to what Tech did on third down passing. 4 of 8 for 51. I don't know that I've ever seen anything like that on third down alone, going 11 of 14 for 223 yards. Average yards completion, 20.3. You've got them in third down. This is the down you get off the field on. This is the down the defense plays for and you've got them, if not behind the chains, if not completely behind the chains, at least you've got a chance, right? And instead, you're not just bad, you're epically horrible. All right, so we get your comments in tonight on Twitter, on Facebook, and everything else. Now, offense, I thought looked pretty good. Morton threw the ball effectively, obviously. I mean, they hung up 52 points. What more do you want the offense to do? They tried to win this game 3 or 4 different times. 45 should have been enough to win. 42 should have been enough to win. No problem. I think my prediction was either 42-17 or 45-17. I can't remember now what I went with on Friday. But, I thought you looked at Morton, he threw the ball crisply. For the most part, other than one, a couple of mystifying series of play calls, the offense I thought was clicking and playing with efficiency. But the defense, as one on YouTube said, was Setincic-esque. Lyle Setincic, early 2000s coordinator while B.J. Simmons was there. B.J. Simmons going to ask you, what is this defense on Twitter? I'm like, B.J., you've seen this defense. Paul on Twitter or X, wow, just wow. Offense showed up, defense didn't. James, Ryan, that was an embarrassment. I mean, I'm not embarrassed. I didn't have anything to do with it. They should be embarrassed. Everybody in that building, offense included, you got to be embarrassed as a team. Mark, I thought Micah Hudson was supposed to start. Well, we knew he wasn't going to start, but we thought he was going to play. And near as we can tell, I think, and I do not have the participation chart right now. That comes out in the final book. I think we had him at 3 plays on the field in the first half, in the last series of the first half. Talking to people who were down on the sidelines, it wasn't like he was on an exercise bike or anything. He was on the sidelines, standing next to the coach. I got no answer for you. We don't know. I'm waiting for the post-game press conference to come out. And some of you guys may find out and hear stuff that I can't because I'm on the air. But he wasn't on the injury list. And remember, Texas Tech is releasing an NFL-style injury list, availability list. He wasn't on that. Now, I don't know if that includes, and I'm only speculating here, so please don't take this wrong. We have no reason to believe he was suspended. But I'm with everybody else. Now, Kelly, I said Micah Hudson need to look like the best receiver on the field. Kelly looked like the best receiver on the field tonight. Welcome to Tech. But I am mystified, and I'm sure we'll hear a reason on where Micah Hudson was tonight. I guess he could have helped you score 100. In the grand scheme of things, it's not that big a deal, but it's a big deal to me that that's the Paul really thought our D would be good this year. I didn't think they'd be bad. I didn't know we had a lot of replacements going in there, a lot of new faces, but you really felt like, okay, they're going to be good enough to handle Abilene Christian, right? I mean, this was a revenge of the X-Red Raiders. It was like that, 17th Star Wars movie, something, the revenge of the X-Red Raiders. Patterson, Micah, I mean, every time you turn around at somebody who had played at Tech, I'm like, my God, they're going to beat them. Alan, from a friend, Matt Wells didn't die for this. Hot garbage, says Huddleston. Stacy, what happened to the defense? They were going to get to the quarterback, and they got to the quarterback tonight once, thank goodness, on the last play of the game. They weren't able to heat up McIver, pardon me, not MacGyver. Played like MacGyver at times. After the first 2 series, they were dominated physically up front. And that was one of the things I said, that you needed to absolutely physically dominate with both lines. You really didn't do that. The offensive line wasn't bad tonight. Morton had time to throw, pressured a little bit here and there, but, they're all right. As they went on, though, I thought they'd wear them down. Didn't wear them down. I didn't see physical dominance that you must see. That was the biggest problem with me tonight, with that up front. And then the secondary, just, where do you want to start? They couldn't cover anybody. At halftime, Joey McGuire tells Tech Radio, Tech Network, well, we're miscommunication. We got to, dude, that wasn't miscommunication. That was guys getting burned, busted coverage. They either didn't know what to do or couldn't do it. Take your pick. They didn't know what to do or they couldn't do it. In the secondary against Abilene Christian, that dog won't hunt. Same old Tech, says Cameron. Mark, we did use the tight ends. Yeah. And I thought, like I said, for the most part, play calling, execute, or, dialing up different things in the offense, like what I saw. Taj Brooks, by the way, bless your heart. What'd you end up with? 150? Shouldn't have even been out there in the second half. And you had to bust your ass. 27 attempts, 153, 5.7 per carry. They're even lining you up out there trying to throw some screen passes and whatnot to you. 3 catches, 14 yards. No, I thought I still want to see some different things, but I guess I want to see Micah Hudson. But I'm not going to gripe too much about the offense tonight, and why should you? They scored 52 points, even though it was in overtime, all right? Can't do that. James, did it feel like ACU adjusted and Tech did not? Well, certainly ACU, if not adjusted offensively, just settled in. McIver looked like a guy who was getting overwhelmed in the beginning. The whole offense for ACU looked like, and then they just started making some plays. I don't think it was any major X and O adjustment. And they really didn't do anything to adjust to Texas Tech's offense, I thought. When Texas Tech failed offensively, I thought it was, for the most part, self-inflicted. You wasted one of the big returns by McCray. You can't do anything. And then, you have the long drive and you get nothing out of it. They're setting up a 96-yard drive for ACU that you kind of got in the red zone. You just didn't look so great. But I keep coming back to the offense. That's fine. Fire the questions, comments. Brought to you by United Supermarkets, Market Street. They're still open tonight. If you want to go by and, I don't know, get something. Alka-Seltzer, maybe? Rolaids. Don't want to beat them up. Looked like a Coach Bro team, talking about Cliff Kingsbury. It did have that feel. I told my wife, I said, this is kind of like the miniature version of the old Mahomes in Mayfield game, Tech and OU, that now you've got McIver and Morton having one of these 1,000-yard offensive nights. Offense was average, defense absolutely atrocious. I thought the offense was better than average, Ryan. I'm going to disagree with you there. I thought it was better than average and should have been enough to win. Coaching, time management, horrible. Give me examples of which time management you did not like. So I think some of the game management that I was mystified by was some of the decisions by Keith Patterson not going for 2 at different times, playing kind of conservative in other moments. And then, and I get it, I understand going for the win right there, but they thought themselves out at the end of regulation with a couple of fade routes when all they had to do was ram it down Tech's throat. Tech couldn't stop them. You weren't stopping them. Run the ball. We'll never know what the last play call was. I say we'll never know what the last play call was. We don't know what the last play call was. I thought Patterson kind of did a couple of things weird. Did they punt? I thought they did. Hold on a second. I thought they did. Yeah, they punted twice for a 39-yard average. Yeah. I was almost certain they had. The ghost of Jerry Moore appeared. Where the hell is Hudson? We don't know, Rick. We're waiting to find out. He was there. He was on the field a few times. Cameron says, I think at this point it's time for Hocutt to kick rocks. Give me a little bit more reason on that. Why is it time for Hocutt to kick rocks? Actually, he's probably one of the most highly sought after ADs in the country, but okay. Defense was scary bad. Yeah, defense was scary bad. James, Joey won't survive a third season with 3 or 4 wins. Yeah, and I don't think they're only going to win 3 or 4 games. You survive this one, and you come back and you see what you look like next week. And you better look better. You know, we did not use the tight ends. Yeah, you used the tight ends some. You didn't run a whole ton of. I mean, for regulation and everything else, your total plays at one point were at 60 something. What was the total plays? 74. You're in 74 plays. If you're going to give the ball to Brooks 27 times, and you're going to get Kelly another 10 and Aiken another 5, there's not a whole lot. I thought Conyers had a huge impact on the game. I got no problem with play calling distribution on that. Had all day to throw. Yes, I did. Coach excuse on first-time starters on radio. Okay, I hadn't heard that. Well, okay. But I was told that you had a lot of guys who had a ton of college starts, and that was why you brought them in. So I'm having a hard time following that logic there. Let's see. Was the last time the opposing quarterback had more passing yards than Tech quarterbacks? I think it happened a couple of times last year, more than a few times. David Gibbs, Matt Waller's stat level bad. You knew here. Kitley doesn't know they exist. I'm not sure which ones we don't know exist. Oh, you Mahomes, that other quarterback. Offense did great. I still want to get rid of the going tempo. The going tempo. Yeah. It typically seems to muddle the offense more than the defense when they try to go tempo. Red zone calls were questionable. I agree. I didn't get a lot of what was going on in the red zone. Tyler, that high school coach hiring coming back to roost, undisciplined and embarrassing. The penalties tonight, at least 6 were pre-snap. They may have all been pre-snap other than a couple late. What did Tech end up with penalty-wise? Show me penalties. Where are you hiding on there? There we are. 11 for 79. Now, when you have 11 and you only have 79 yards, that tells you had at least 6 false starts. And the pre-snap penalties that we talked about, playing clean and everything else, that's bad. You also got a penalty, I think, on coming out of a timeout on defense. Cameron, it pains me to say it, but I look at my memories from 10 years ago. Same reaction to a Kingsbury skin of teeth win. There's been one constant that far back, K freaking Hocutt. Okay, well, here's the deal, Cameron. K freaking Hocutt drives money, has you in a good athletic conference, has you financially stable, has all programs pretty much playing pretty good. So you can gripe all you want about Kirby Hocutt, but he's a good athletic director. In fact, he's a very good athletic director. Now, you can gripe all you want about that, and you can say, well, if football's all right, nothing else matters. And if you want to do that, you can. But there's a whole lot more to things than just football. He's a good athletic director. He could be in the doghouse for some reason. Chris, I assume talking about Micah Hudson. If he were in the doghouse, he wouldn't have played at all. You know? Craig says Tech players shouldn't be celebrating after the game. They barely beat ACU, not Notre Dame. I really didn't pay attention to any of that. I mean, I assume you're happy when you win, right? You did definitely upgrade parts of the offense. I think so. I think this receiving core is better. Yeah, I like a lot of what I saw. When the game got tighter, offense got scared. The amount of false starts too. Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if Morton was doing something cadence wise, or I don't know what it was. You know. Yeah, the first 5-star was non-existent, and we still don't know. I am waiting on some other information to come my way that I've not received at this point. I don't know. It mystifies me. Mystifies me. Oh, why did Joey not try running the clock down at the end of regulation? I think you were, well, I mean, 239, they get the ball back. So the most you've got right there is you get it down around the 230. I mean, you know, you're running it. I don't think you could have done much more. You're still trying to win a game. I really didn't have much of a problem with the play calling from a clock standpoint at the end of the game, and then they get the ball back with 2:39. I had a problem with you not being able to get them off the field after three, 3rd and 6. Martinez plus 23, 3rd and 8. You get another one to Martinez. Then they get it to 4th and 4. 9 to Henry. We get another 3rd down, incomplete Taylor, and then they go for the field goal. So, I was more concerned about again not being able to get off the field during that time frame defensively again. But I didn't see anything tonight that I thought was really glaring from a game management standpoint on Joey McGuire's side. I thought there were actually more interesting choices made by Keith Patterson. Secondary was pathetic. Yes, it was. I don't know how many times I wrote busted coverage. Let's see what was 2nd and 3rd. What was it? Which one was it? Was it the one to Henry on 4th down? Yeah, it was the 4th down of 42 with 39 seconds left, and it's loose coverage, man. You got to get on a guy. The secondary looked confused, looked bad. Meanwhile, Arizona State is up 27-0 on Wyoming. Right now, hard to see any gimme W's on the schedule. Well, there weren't going to be many gimme W's on the schedule to begin with, but there weren't any games I thought on the schedule that you automatically lose. So there's always that. Conyers is very impressive. I agree, Chris. Feel like stepped into a portal and emerged in 2016 Tech OU game. Yeah, if you didn't know, you'd be sitting there going, well, what are we doing here? Appreciate the questions, comments, thoughts, our reaction. Tech wins 52-51 over Abilene Christian. Certainly not the game most Tech fans wanted, expected, or otherwise, but that's the game you got. A lot of the positives will be lost in it. Most of that obviously has to do with offense. I want to give a shout out right now to Kenny Perry and Texas Tech special teams. Fantastic tonight. That'll get lost in the shuffle. McCray, elite return man. Blocks well set up, executed, 2 big returns, help you out. And then the 2-point conversion. Let us not forget the 2-point conversion that didn't necessarily put Abilene Christian in a chase position early on. But you look back and you go, well, that was nice to get. That 2-point conversion, somebody on Twitter said swinging gate. No, it's not a swinging gate by definition, by purest definition. But I really, and that's, that's where you've got a chance to utilize a guy, and you got the right number of hats on the right side, and you blocked it up, and you went in there and you scored it. Now I thought it was real interesting. Here's what intrigued me on that is that you run that. What was that second touchdown? Game 1. What else are they going to do off that? That tells me they absolutely wanted to show that, and they absolutely wanted that out there because they have something else they're going to do out of that formation when it really matters. File that one away, okay? And God help us, I hope it's not next week. Washington State. Hey, I'm telling you right now, next week, Washington State, Raiderland Rewind is going to be on Sunday, and it ain't going to be, well, I mean, it'll be a Sunday either way because the game will end on Sunday our time, but it will be Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. All right. 2 years ago, Tech had the fastest speed recruiting class ever. Where are those recruits now? And if they're running fast, they're running past making tackles. I mean, you're going to hear things about run fits, and you're going to hear things about, coverage and communication and everything. Now, you were getting beat physically by ACU. You're getting beat physically by ACU. That's disturbing as hell. It's a defensive failure, not an offensive problem. I agree. Raider Vision jumping in on that. Greg, yep, offense did fine for first game. Defense, just not sure about. Oh, I'm sure it was horrible. I'm sure it was awful. I'm sure Texas Tech should have at every position on the field. Texas Tech, every man who mirrors their man should be better than them. No offense to my friends at ACU, but you can't create that kind of dominance. That's very scary to me right now. All the talk of improved depth on defense seems to have just been hype. We'll find out as the year goes along. We said kind of going into the game, you got a lot of bodies. Who's going to do what? You got a lot of different people. Who's going to do what? Just because you got a lot of bodies doesn't necessarily mean anything if they don't play well. I don't think there was a punt on any side of the ball in the second half. I thought Tech punted in the second half. Was there not a punt by Tech in the second half? I'm not going to go back and look through my notes, but I really thought Tech had a punt in the second half. Defense is supposed to be ahead of the offense. Not happening. Well, pick your bromide. 5 wins, says Chris. I disagree. I still think this team's got wins in them. Raider Vision never put any pressure on the quarterback, and that's the disturbing part because we heard all spring and all summer about getting the rush home, getting home with the rush. And I don't know how many times Tech blitzed and got burned. If not burned, got beat. So many times you saw them bring heat, and it didn't matter. Why is Hocutt sought after? He literally done nothing to better Tech athletics in the win column. Yeah, he has. There's more to the program than just Tech football, but in football, yeah. Now again, Joey McGuire, joint hire. The only singular hire that Hocutt has made in football was Matt Wells. He didn't hire Cliff Kingsbury unilaterally. In fact, he really didn't hire Cliff. That was brought to you by Ken Hance and the powers that be. All right. So your era of Hocutt hires, really the only one that he did unilaterally was Matt Wells. Epic failure. But again, Joey McGuire, not a Hocutt hire, a Hocutt hire in conjunction with. But all the things you need an athletic director to do in the modern age, he does, and he does well. So I'm going to back him. Sorry. Nothing else, you ought to be glad he got rid of Wells as quickly as he did. Levi Savage. What kind of Levi Savage? That sounds awesome. Glad you guys are out there tonight hanging out. Who cares about Mike or the offense? They scored 52 points. The defense was a problem. Am I losing my mind here? Why are we even talking about the offense? We're talking about the offense because it was good. And you may be losing your mind. And we talked about the offense being good. And we've also talked about some interesting things within the offensive wrinkles and different things, but we talk about everything. Welcome to the show, Levi. Greg McGuire does better as the year goes on, as we know, but he has to get going early, like when next week. Yeah, I mean, next week, you can't lose any of the first 5 games and do what you want to do if you are of the opinion that you want Texas Tech to win, say, 8 games minimum. You've got to be 5-0 for any of that to happen. Bottom line. All right. So, Cameron and I really don't know what to say about this performance. Either we've been fed a bunch of BS, not drinking the Raiderade. Hold on. We have a guest on the show. Are you going to join us or not? Really? Come here. All right. Say hi and get it out of your system. There you go. Thank you, Finch. Appreciate it. How did you get the door open? It amazes me. Oh, well. Not drinking the Raiderade or something is terribly off. I'm not ready to go that something is terribly off. I'm just looking at this going, this is a horrible performance by the defense. And now Tim DeRuyter is a good defensive coach. So I want to see more. By the way, a little pro tip here. If you are liking something, don't say I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, because everybody who drank the Kool-Aid died in Jonestown, Guyana. All right? That's all you need to know about that. Exactly. How many coaching changes under him? 0 improvement. Well, he's improved other sports. He's improved your ability to fundraise. He gives you a chance. I'm not going to change Cameron's mind because Cameron doesn't like Kirby Hocutt. All right, that's fine. Knock yourself out. But he's a good athletic director. Seems to be no intensity from the defensive players, in particular, no push on the line. It's hard to gauge intensity. And this is not a defense that's paralyzed by read and react and everything else. So I see them at times flying around. How do we, describe what's intensity? What's intensity? I don't know what that means. Intensity is a word that doesn't really mean anything. Now, I see them moving around, but I see them not going to the right place, Mark, I stand by my halftime assessment. Could be a very long year. Get the whiskey and Tums stocked. Ross, I get in trouble by the missus for swearing heavily after the win that might as well have been a loss against the fake Church of Christ school. At least they still say Abilene Christian, not unlike TCU that doesn't want you to call them Christian. Should Billy Joe Tolliver be in the Ring of Honor? No. He should be in the Ring of Honor at the Depot Beer Garden. Tell you a story about that some night. Greg, I do think ACU offense is better than we thought, but Tech defense is just has to get better. The receivers did not look better tonight. Hell, half the ACU offense, Greg, is people you didn't want at Tech. Revenge of the ex-Red Raiders. Tyler, continue to play that like that. Hard to see more than 4 or 5 wins, but at least we aren't Houston. Good Lord, what is going on with Houston? Last I saw, down 27-0 at home. My goodness. Allen, the brand is getting behind at 3-4 and rallying for 6-6, 7-5 finish and winning a crappy bowl. Now, I agree with those who say, if you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk, and all the brand talk and everything else, you got to do that. Tech's preseason football hype went down in flames tonight. Well, thankfully, I wasn't one of those hyping them, so I feel okay then. Defense at least held them when they really need. Yeah, okay, yeah. Defense on a play, and I thought their offensive coordinator went brain dead at the end of regulation with the fade routes. Seriously, are you going to make it? Are you going to come? Just get off the desk. Go on. Get out. Go on. You don't need to be up here. Yes, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Special teams very good tonight. Yes, very much so. How many head football coaching misses in a row does an AD need to have before his position is at risk? At Texas Tech and with Kirby Hocutt, his job is 100% locked down secure. He probably has I don't know that there's an AD in the Big 12 that is on more solid footing than Kirby Hocutt within the university structure, within the alumni and the power donors and everybody else. Nobody closer. It's a discussion that if you want to have, that's fine, but it ain't going to go nowhere. Faster players can get out of position faster than slower players. I love that. Sanders is going to be slice and dice if there is some kind of defensive overhaul. My gosh. First one to 70. What do you think? Tech Colorado here in a little while? First one to 70. Who wins that game? Ryan, seemed like edge defenders weren't playing in the second half. Whole quarter. I don't know. I have to see. I need to see the participation chart. Don Williams is the best at that. I can barely keep up with what down it is. John, hi y'all. Offense, awesome. Defense sucks. Well, my work here is done. John could have come on 30-something minutes ago when we started Rewind. Brought to you by the great people at Thacker Jewelry. So if you see them online, tell them thanks for sponsoring this program, being great friends of us in Raiderland. Irish could have come on and said, offense great, defense sucks. Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Hocutt have a history of pumping up the other programs with mediocre with the football program? Football's not been good at Texas Tech for a decade. Other programs have been better. Offense was bad in the second half. Only TD on a trick play. Who is it? Rob Bro. I think my man Rob, shout out. I think he's doing the post game show on the Tech Network flagship station in Lubbock. So if you're bouncing back and forth, you know, you can listen to us and you can listen to Rob and everything. I'm sure he's going to do a great job. He did, you know, I think he had something like, you know, a beautifully executed flea flicker. Yes. Having to run it to beat ACU. Yeah, that's where we are. If anything, hopefully Washington State will now overlook that thinking we're awful. I like it. Just have two linebackers, and that's it on defense. I want to go to the tackles here for just a second, if I can get there quickly. So Rodriguez had 12 tackles, 8 solo. And then after that, Ben Roberts had 7-4 solo, and it's all DBs. Horn, Baskerville, Horn 11, Baskerville 9. These are total tackles. Where's my man? Where's my man Curry? I thought Curry got in on tackle. Oh well. Yeah, you really didn't get it into a position tonight where your linebackers, I thought, could have the kind of impact on the game that they should. And that all depends on the offense, on the defensive front. The defensive front, I think, is not really good right now. You know. Players coaches. There you go. That's the problem. Too many players coaches. Kingsbury, Wells, and now McGuire, right? Lyle Sutton-Sitch lauded as a great DC as well. Complicated NFL type screens, schemes, and reads. How well did that work out? Not good. You know, it was. You had to start. You had to have minimum of 50 starts. And I used to have it memorized. There was like a 13-step pre-snap route, line assignment, key technique. I used to have the whole thing memorized years ago. Painful memories. Tech looks small in the D-line, pushed around all night. They might look small. They're not small physically. But they did not exert physical dominance. And as we said going into the game tonight, that was one of the things we wanted to look at. We wanted to see physical dominance by Texas Tech. Did not see that. Really offensive line either. ACU stacked with a bunch of P5, G5 players on offense and an offensive scheme we hadn't seen. They should have pulled off that win. Yeah, we've never seen an offense that does what they do. Yeah, we have. And the guys they have are coming from programs that aren't supposedly as good as Tech, including all the guys who supposedly couldn't play at Tech. Chris is an LCU alum. We always used to call ACU almost Christian. Yes, indeed. Always aspired to being in the Ring of Honor at the Depot Beer Garden. Trust me, Billy Joe Tolliver's name would be one of the first ones to go up there. Taylor have any eligibility? I'll double check. I don't know. Two scenarios with the defense, both scary. They either don't understand the defensive concept yet, or they don't have the physical talent. Yeah, that's those are two options, and neither one is good. The third option is that they had a bad game and they might get better. They had a bad game and they won't get better. Arizona tied with New Mexico at 24. God bless them. Jason Shear's going to have a hard time tonight. Mac Rhodes pretty solid at Baylor. Arizona tied with New Mexico. What the hell's going on with Arizona? These border conference teams you can't trust. Ryan, I'm as mad as anybody tonight, but way overreacting to call hiring Joey a miss. I agree. That's okay. Listen, guys. I was doing post game call-in shows on radio before some of y'all were born. I've done this a long time. I know the exact reaction we're going to get, not going to get, and otherwise get. I totally understand it. Washington State minus 24 is my guess. We'll see tomorrow. I think Tech will be favored in that game. Nacho just joining. Anything exciting going on? I'm looking for really good recipes for fried fish, specifically cod and or whitefish. I like to use a nice rice flour if possible, maybe even a seltzer. Really light. I really want it light and fluffy when it crisp up, and that's the whole thing. Then it's the key is the malt vinegar. If anybody's got some really good fried fish ideas, let me know. Bradford and Hutchings are gone. Defensive line is pedestrian. Sure look like it tonight. Absolutely 100% looked that way tonight. That you got guys, you got a lot of bodies, but you just didn't do anything. I'm looking at the line rotation tonight, and that's the way it goes. Garlic with the cod. All right. Can't imagine a whole lot. You guys can get in thanks to United Supermarkets, Market Street. They handle all of our chat line communications. Remember, we're with you every Monday through Friday with the daily broadcast, 6:30 in the evening, right here on Twitter, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Glad to have everybody out here. We're going to archive this at theraiderland.com. You can share it with your friends, invite them in, all that good stuff. Let's see. People calling for Joey's job must have somehow forgot the misery of the Wells era. That's what happens. All the time, every time. We live in the now, we live in the moment. Go back to some of the interesting stats that I wanted to get to. I told you, again, the most amazing stat of the night is what they did to you on third down. 11 to 14 passing, 223 yards on third down. And can we have a little shout out to Maverick MacGyver? When I was doing the radio show with Rob Rowe on Talk 103.9 FM, we were on in San Angelo, and it's like every year, it's like, MacGyver, is he going to play? Is he going? We never saw him. It was like, is he even there? And we saw him tonight. Average yards, no, that's not what I'm looking at there. Your big plays, and this is defined by rushes of 10 or completions of 15 or more. They had 17 big plays to Tech's 12, 392 to 269 yardage on that. Your deep passing of 15 yards or more, they were 9 of 15, Tech 7 of 13. I thought there was one more analytic that I had written down, and now I can't find it in my notes because I got 9 pages of freaking notes that I'll have to go back and look through tomorrow. Yeah, the penalties, and that's an easy one, and you should glom onto that. And we hear, all the time about the biggest improvement is week 1 to week 2. Spike Dykes said that, by the way, a whole lot because, well, he got his ass kicked in week 1 quite a bit and would come back to the Monday presser there at the Letterman's Lounge, catered by Whataburger back in the day. Thank you, Norm Misplay, the regional manager back in the late 80s and early 90s, who would give starving people like myself working in the media extra bags of Whataburger to take home and put in the refrigerator. Yeah, the biggest improvement week 1 to week 2. Let's see. Law Talk Sports. Yeah, Chuck. Sorry we talked up Maverick so much yesterday. Yeah. I mean, Tech fans got what they wanted. They had wanted for years to see Maverick MacIver there at Jones Stadium, and now you've seen him. David Collier from KMAC 28, Red Raider Nation, joining us now. Have you left the stadium yet? By the way, the new PA public address announcer making his debut tonight at Jones Stadium, Casey Cowan, the pride of Littlefield, Texas, taking over the microphone out there. And let me say this. Doing quality PA is hard. It's not easy. In stadium PA, I've done it before. I hate doing PA because I'm a play-by-play guy, and it's hard to be a play-by-play guy and do good PA. So hopefully everybody was nice and kind to him. I don't know. Did he cuss? David, do you know? Did he go blue? Because you and me, we both know Casey, and I'm assuming that at some point he probably went blue in the second half. And we can pose the question, even though I know the answer because I believe you were probably live at the same time Joey McGuire was addressing the media. And with me being live as well, we miss out on some of the immediate post game comments. We all had the same thoughts during the game. What's going on with Micah Hudson? Aside from what's going on with the defense, was obvious they sucked. Texas Tech is doing an NFL style injury report. He was not on it. I don't know if that report will also include players that would be facing any sort of discipline action or otherwise that would not be available for the game. But he was available. He was healthy, talking about Hudson. He got in a few plays. And it's just still kind of astonishing to me what we didn't see. So I don't know. And I don't know. I got no answer on that. Not that it played a role in the outcome. What? I guess if you'd been there, they would have scored 70 and you wouldn't have to go to overtime. It would have been 70 to 42 or whatever. But I'm flummoxed. I got no answers for it on that. I hope he's fine. So we'll find out. All right. We'll go a few more minutes here tonight. We will archive this and put it at theraiderland.com. I want you to check that out. Tomorrow morning, we'll have our 5 things we know on a Sunday column up. And hope you guys will enjoy that. If you're new to what we do here, we're not new around here. We've been covering Texas Tech for just a wee bit of time and have been doing a rewind in some form or fashion, whether on the radio or right here with you guys, going back a lot of years. A lot of years. Somebody posted this week. I get maybe it was Gambling Gauchos who were doing their top 100 Tech players, and Zach Thomas was number 2, and it was the interception return against A&M. Greatest play I never saw. Greatest play I never saw. I was doing the post game show that day, so I had to leave Jones Stadium to go back to KFYO studios early on in the fourth quarter, in time to make it back out to where it was out there, past 1585 back in the day, which long ways back in the day. So I'm sitting there in the studio, no TV coverage that we could get in the studio, listening to Jack Dell on that call. I didn't see it until later on that night that we got that. I got to think about all the different times I had to leave the stadium to go do the post game show. And sometimes you miss something amazing, and sometimes you miss something amazing on the bad side. There's a lot of years doing this back in the day. Vinny, my goodness, it's old home week. Vinny Vincenta, San Antonio sports broadcast legend, legendary Andy Penny on the ACU broadcast call. Yes, he does. He is the man about Abilene. How you doing, Vinny? How can I end a show when I got both Vinny and David Collier? Now I need Greg Miller jumping on here at some point. Mike Solarte, anyone? No one knows who I'm talking about. Nobody knows who I'm talking about. I think they're hiding Hudson for the perfect time. For all I know, they're going to turn him into a defensive back, John. Maybe they've just decided, hey, we can score 50 points. Maybe we got to cover somebody. All right. You guys are the best. We appreciate it. The replay people, we thank you guys for being out there. Again, Thacker Jewelry, great sponsors. The presenter of Raiderland Rewind. We'll be with you in the morning with the call. We'll be with you on Monday. We won't shut down helmet stickers on Monday. Get ready to hand out some of those on the website. We'll have some fresh hot links waiting for you as well. Always enjoy the conversation, even though Tech's 1-0. It feels like a loss. You have the emotions of a loss, but then you get to go, you know what? You're 1-0. As opposed to the Wyoming game last year where you're 0-1. So you got all those things going for you right now. All right, we got to hit the little button that ends this whole thing. Parting is such sweet sorrow, but we got to do it. So go check out the website, theraiderland.com.